I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning! Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday to all across the Delaware Valley. Man, is it not a great day today? Phil's day game, and the Phils are just hot. Oh, my. You want to talk about sizzling. The Fighting Phillies. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. We're presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY or stop into your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. So let's get into this discussion. Yesterday, what another day. So they were facing Berríos, right? José Berríos, who's a really good pitcher for the Blue Jays. In fact, he came into the game with a 1.44 ERA, best in the majors. All right? I mean, you're talking about, he faced a lot of those AL teams, had a lot of success, just locked down, having a really good year. So look on paper and you go, well, Berríos versus Christopher Sanchez. And I think we'll check later on with the brain, but I think the Phillies were a pick 'em or close to a, some places might even have the Blue Jays as a favorite. Well, the Phillies make quick work of Berríos. I mean, they just unleash hell on him. 8 runs, 7 hits, 3 2/3 innings. They chase him. All right? In fact, his ERA jumped a full run after yesterday. And, of course, it all gets started with who else? Bryce Harper, a Bryce bomb, 4 grand slam, all right, a bash. I mean, you just see it. Like, he just makes you pay. And he's starting to heat up. He's had a great week. And how about Clemens? What a great story. I had him in spring training last year. We sat down for a while. Great dude, right? He came from the Astros. His father's, of course, the great Roger Clemens. And, what a great story. What a game he had yesterday. Home run early, triple, all right, knocked in 4 runs. So they're rolling when the bench starts to contribute in that big way. Sanchez, I mean, does this rotation, do they have a flaw? My God. 7 innings, just a run on 6 hits, no real threat, 5 strikeouts, economical, right? 94 pitches. I mean, what a workman-like, boom, they're at you. They're just playing such great baseball. You got to forgive me. They're 26-11. And it have you starting to think about the best teams in Phillies history. And are we watching the best team in Phillies history? And having seen them all, the ones in contention at least, I think yes. I do. I think that this is, going into the year, I said 100 wins. And people were like, well, it's a little much. I really thought that this team didn't have a great weakness. Now, I thought the bullpen would be better. So they're 26-11. They've won 7 in a row, 11 straight at home, 18 of 21 overall, and we're not in June, right? Like, June is when they really start to play ball. I mean, 26-11. So let's think about this for a second. The teams that in Phillies history that would be in conversation for the best ever. So 2011 was the four aces, right? That's when you had Halladay, Lee, Hamels, right, Oswalt, and Joe Blanton as the rotation. The lineup was you still had Utley, Howard, Jimmy, right? So you still had those mainstays. But we'll get into that. That was 2011. They won 102 games. That was the franchise record. Now, in 76 and 77, they won 101 games both seasons. So they had 101 victories in both 76 and 77. In 2010, that was the year they lost to the Giants. 97 wins. In 93, 97 wins. Of course, last year, 90 wins. And then the year before, and then in 1980, it was 91 wins. So these are the best teams in Phillies history. Let's focus in on 2011. So 2011 was probably the best team of the run. 08 was a lot like what happened 2 years ago when the Phils go on that run. 08, they had made the playoffs the year before and lost to Colorado. They go and they get hot in September, and they make this run, right? They win the division, and you know the story of 08. But 08, it was interesting because your rotation was not, it was good. You had Hamels, who was terrific. You had like the veteran Jamie Moyer, right? You had Brett Myers. You had those kinds of guys, right? So you looked at it, and it was a good team, but it wasn't a great team. 2011 was a great team. I gave it a rotation. And also in 08, you had a great bullpen. Lidge, again, was ridiculous, right? Madsen was coming to his own as a setup guy. So you had a really good, strong pen. But in 2011, when you're coming out with the horses, and they were horses. Hamels was your 3. Doc was your 1. Lee was your 2. Hamels, Oswalt, Blanton. All right? That was your rotation. Ridiculous. Now, their lineup, let's compare this, right? Because the rotation now is great. It may not be all-timers, right? Like you may not see Doc Halladay, but, Wheeler is certainly, of the whole crew, I would put him second behind Halladay. I would put Wheeler above Hamels, and I would put Wheeler above Lee. And then you got Nola and Sanchez and Ranger, right? So, right off the bat, you may not be the 4 aces, but you're looking good 1, 2, 3, especially the way Ranger's dealing. So then your lineup. You got Chooch behind the plate, Peace at first. Remember, that was vintage Peace. That was his the end of his run. 33 home runs, 116 RBI. Chase at second, and interestingly, he had a down year that year. He only hit 268, 11 homers, 44 ribbies for Chase that year. Jimmy at short, Polanco at third, and then your outfield, Ibanez, Victorino, and Hunter Pence. And Hunter Pence he was never the guy. Remember, he then goes to the Giants, and when the Giants have their World Series runs, he suddenly becomes Mr. October. But here, he was terrible. We all knew that they needed a bat at some point in 2011. Trade deadline, they gave Hunter Pence, and we're all thinking like it was a great signing. It was not. And so you look at that effort. So I look at this team, right? So JT behind the plate. JT, as much as I love Chooch, JT's better stick, better defensive catcher, and that's a lot because Chooch was incredible, but JT is probably the best arm behind the plate in all of Major League Baseball. So you got to go JT. You got Bryce and Ryan Howard. So at worst, it's a push, right? Stott and Utley. So you're going to go Chase there. Turner and Jimmy. Now, you might go slight edge to Jimmy, but at that point, and the way Turner could be, it could be a lot closer. Third, Bohm and Polanco. You got to go Bohm over Polanco, where Bohm is, and how he's improved his glove and everything else. And in the outfield, all right, let's go. Now, because of the DH, it's different, right? But let's just put Schwarber, Marsh, Castellanos versus Ibanez, Victorino, and Pence. And you're going to take Schwarber, Marsh, and Castellanos in the outfield. So when you're looking at this team, we're probably looking at the best team in Phillies history. Now, 26-11 speaks for itself. And just the way they're just trucking teams. Like, they're just coming out. And I don't know about you guys, but when you're watching them, they almost feel unbeatable. They have that air of they're so good that they have that air of unbeatability. I remember that in '83 with the Sixers. Like, you just kind of watch them, and they were just so superior to teams. And I get this feeling. Now, again, just because they're like this now doesn't mean anything in October, because we know how the roles reverse and things change. And, case in point is the Braves, right? Because Atlanta was just playing just like the Phillies are right now last year, rolling through teams, trucking teams, and we all know what happened. So baseball's different in that you could have great dominance during the regular season, but the playoffs, who knows? But if you're just looking at this team in relation to the rest, the Phillies history, I got to go to this squad. I got to go today over 2011. It's close because of the aces, but the way the top of the rotation, really the depth, right? The depth of this rotate. Turnbull's pitching well, right? You saw Taijuan Walker pitch well, Sanchez. So they're getting, it's early and it's just May, but they're getting a lot of contribution. So it's to me, it's fascinating. A lot of fun. This is a team that's good. And that's popping off. Brought to you by OliPop, the soda that's good for you. Yeah, soda. We love soda. It tastes great, right? But OliPop's good for you. So check it out. Buy some at your nearest Wawa. Good morning, JP.
Buenos dias,
John
cuz.
Zapata.
Oh, man. I'm Phillied up here today. I'm excited. Listen, one thing that I've heard a lot, I always like to get the consensus from the fan base. There's certain part of the fan base that likes to bring up the level of competition that they've had. But the fact of the matter is, you're a professional baseball team. You take care of what you have in front of them. And, cuz, we played some solid pitching. You mentioned Berríos last night. Dude had the lowest ERA. We tattooed that man. And let's take it to the other side. Obviously, the bats. But we've known the bats over the past couple of years. This pitching staff has been super impressive. As I look at a kid like Christopher Sanchez, and when I see him, I look at Ranger Suarez and kind of the trajectory he's on. You saw the way he controlled. You saw the way how he controlled. I'm going there.
Nah, like Ranger.
Well, not there yet, but we're heading there.
Rangers, I think we've had this argument over the last couple of days about Ranger and regression, and Charlie O'Connor from our All Flyers show has been bringing that up. Ranger, I believe. I mean, Sanchez is what he is. I mean, I think he'll give you a couple good outings, and but Ranger's actually a very good. I think
I think where I go is because some of the off-speed stuff. So you saw yesterday him throwing like the 80-mile-per-hour changeup, and then he hit you with that like 90-mile-per-hour. And the velocity was up yesterday. We'll wait to see. But this pitching staff has been really impressive because obviously you mentioned the aces from 2010, and that's kind of what we're talking about today. We're comparing those late 2010 or late 2000 teams.
Yeah, in 2011 they had the aces. That was Ruben. So we had Ruben Amaro on the other day, and Rube's white whale was Halladay. Right? He wanted Zoc in the worst way.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that, they were trying to work the budget. They had Cliff Lee. Remember, they traded for Cliff Lee in 2009, right? But then they had a chance to get Doc, right? So they had to let Cliff Lee. They had to trade Cliff Lee to Seattle. Philippe Aumont, Tyson Gillies, I think his name was. And then what happens is they have the chance to. Then they get Lee back as a free agent.
That's right.
2011. They're the four aces. Like, that was probably one of the best rotations in the history of baseball.
That's right.
Like, going back to the early A's and Orioles of the 70s, like that, Mets, like that rotation was an all-timer. Obviously, that rotation is better than this rotation. But I'll take this lineup every day of the week.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, obviously, the rotation's still really good, but the bats are just really, really, really good. And I even like you just look. Buster brought up a good point yesterday.
Yeah, we had Buster Olney on yesterday.
So he brought up the
ESPN
fact
baseball.
He was talking about the dugout vibe and how hot it is, and you just hear it from fans talking about it as well. But even like a guy like Cody Clemens stepping up in a big way, getting 4 RBIs, you're getting bench pieces going up to the bat or even in the field and making some big plays, and that's that dugout vibe. That's super contagious because everyone feels that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting how close, and Buster talked about it, and you talk to people that are in and out of that clubhouse, and it'll tell you how tight knit they are.
Yeah,
which is really, really a cool thing, man.
You talk about the cliques. There's no cliques in there. Everyone is just one whole unit. And like the Trey Turner injury, obviously you would think like maybe a little bit of a slight back there for this team, but no. Here comes Bryson Stott or here comes Edmundo Sosa, and they just keep the ball rolling. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it's something that, and I'm going to run this by because I think it's interesting. Something that Buster talked about was how this group goes out of its way to include everyone, right? Young players get called up or bench guys or guys that come in. They go out of their way to include everybody.
Absolutely.
So I think that that's more part of this generation. I'll call it your generation, right? I think that's one of the great positives of this generation is that it's way more inclusive. Like, I think back to the 93 Phillies, right? 93 Phillies won 97 games, right? And we know the great story of the 93 Phillies, right? Obviously, Dalton and Dykstra and, Inky and you name it, right? Just go through the whole list. Schilling. But here's the deal. That team, Crucker, was Macho Row. That was the thing. They called it Macho Row. But it was a negative, too, because that clubhouse was not one. Now, there was some wild, and Kruk was one of those guys that, he loved everybody, and, like, everybody loved him, and he was – but there was a lot of division.
Yeah.
Schilling, right? Like, there were guys, Dave Hollins. It was not an all-for-one inclusive atmosphere like this clubhouse is. And I think that's generation.
Yeah.
I think in 1993, because I'm of that generation, right? 1993, I'm sitting there and I'm in my early 20s and I'm going, you have this feeling, right? Like you are the Macho Road thing was real. And ego and that macho thing was like omnipresent. And it was a competitive, like you were competitive to almost a detriment sometimes.
Yeah.
Like we're within your own team. Like it's good. A healthy competition is great. Like you want to be the best on your team. But the inclusive nature of this group kind of speaks to that, and I think it's generational.
Well, it's a long season. It's 162 plus games when you're talking about the playoffs as well. So it's important, to keep especially like those bench pieces, that morale high. I love seeing Christian Pache, man, barely sees the field, barely sees the at-bats. He's the first one you're fist bumping after making a big play.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what you're talking about, that compassion. Real quick, you're talking about the 93 team, because I've watched so many YouTube highlights on that 93 team. So after that World Series, did you think that they would be back the following year and maybe going a little bit of just like a playoff run for the next couple of seasons?
Of course. I mean, we had high expectations in 94, high expectations. but that was the year of the strike.
Yeah.
That was the year. You know, they didn't get off to a great start, but that was the year of the strike. Just ended everything. And there was a pall that was over that entire season. So I was covering. I had just gotten a job, my first big job, with the New York Post.
There you go.
And I was covering baseball. I was covering the Mets. So I was doing a lot of baseball stuff. And I covered that strike. And the last game was August like 15th, 16th, something like that. And it was like the middle of August, the last day. And the Phillies were playing the Mets. So I was home, right? And the players, so the team gets transportation back and forth to the stadium, right? And so the players, so the Mets didn't get their players any transportation back to Shea Stadium where they parked their cars.
No, they didn't.
So the player rep, I think it was John Franco at the time, who's a lefty reliever, got a bus. So I said, listen, can I ride the bus with you guys? Because you're riding into the unknown, right? Like, and then he's like, yeah, come back, right? So I'm like, it's a good story. So my car's home here in Philly. So I ride back to New York on the bus, and I took like a $300 cab ride back to Philly.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but it was a good story.
Absolutely.
I'm on the bus with those guys.
Yeah.
And we were, they had cases of beer, right? Coolers of beer. And I remember we were like driving over the Jersey Turnpike, drinking and not knowing the future of the sport because the sport was shutting down. And those guys, everybody thought like it would be a week they'd be playing. There's no way they would cancel the World Series.
Sounds like COVID.
And that was the year they canceled the World. Yes, it was. So I'm on the team with I'm on that bus with all the Mets, drinking beers, and they're just on the way back to their parking lot at Shea Stadium.
Crap. Well, let me get you juiced up because I got juiced up looking at the following schedule here. So for the next month, we got some fun baseball. So we obviously have a series with the Marlins, we have the series with the Mets, Nats, and then on May 21st, we have a 3-game set with the reigning World Series champs. And that is going to be a fun series, And then we'll see there. We'll see how they stack up with the reigning World Series champs there. Should be fun early
Actually,
series.
You know what's funny? I was already looking at the schedule. We didn't talk about this piece of it. I was looking at the schedule earlier. Do you know they play July 29th, 30th, and 31st?
Is it those guys in Atlanta?
The Yankees.
The Yankees?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Love playing the Yankees.
Yeah, because I've been getting deluged from the New York people.
Oh, I bet you have.
After the, I have a lot of friends in New York.
Yeah.
So after the Knicks thing, I've been getting deluged. And so, I start pumping up Phillies, right? And thumping my chest. And they're like, well, the Yankees are back, right? So Yankees, Phils here, end of July.
I can't
That's
wait.
a showdown. So we're going to look forward to it. There's a couple other ones I can't wait for, right? Phillies and Orioles, man.
Yeah.
I want to go. I want to go there. That's in Baltimore.
Really good ballpark. I always wanted to go to.
Yeah.
Good setup.
We got to get a trip. We got to call Vince from True Fan Travel.
Get
a bus. Go down to Baltimore. Get nuts.
Baseball and crab cakes. I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That'd be fun.
Absolutely fun.
I love it.
So last night, cause I was in the Wegmans, and guess what? The fiance tells me for dinner. She's like, "Babe, let's get OliPops." She said it herself.
She's feeling it.
She was like, let's get OliPops. I was like,
she
babe,
watches the show.
I'm in. Let's do it. Guys, and let me tell you why she selected the OliPop. Because, guys, it was burrito night, right? We had burritos last night. We wanted some soda because you're doing Mexican. You want the Mexican Coca-Cola, but we weren't doing that. We wanted to still stay a little bit healthier. So we went with the OliPop, ladies and gentlemen. It's because it's the world's first functional soda with a classic soda taste and the benefits of plant-based fiber, ladies and gentlemen, and has other botanical ingredients to support that gut health, guys. It's important here. And it's the new kind of soda with only 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of fiber per can. You can't beat it, guys. And the best part about it, it's available in over 30,000 retailers, including our favorite Wawa. You can get some of the classic soda taste at Wawa. You're getting your cup of Joe in the morning. Grab your OliPop for lunch, ladies and gentlemen. But right now we have you hooked up with the promo code. If you look right now at the bottom left screen on YouTube, you can see that promo code PHLY20. That'll get you 20% off your next OliPop order. This discount only applies to one-time orders, not to subscription orders. And OliPop is sold online at drinkolipop.com or on Amazon. But listen, if you don't want to go to Wawa, you can find it at your local supermarkets. I found it at Wegmans, but you can get it at Target, Sprouts, ShopRite, and of course, you can also get it delivered technically with GoPuff as well. So guys, for your next meal, choose an OliPop. It's refreshing, it's tasty, and it's good for you. Thank you to our friends over at OliPop.
You got it, my boy. All right, let's talk about Parks Casino Ben Salem. So appearing Saturday night. Speaking of Sixers Knicks, Tracy Morgan will be appearing at Park. See, listen. Now, he's a creepo after giving Maxey the finger, all right? But he's immensely talented. He puts on a great show. I'm actually a big fan of his. See, Parks gets only the best, all right? They got everybody, man. You got to check out the incredible entertainment that happens at Parks Casino, the number one casino experience in the state of Pennsylvania. All right, you want action? Parks has it. 3,200 state-of-the-art slots, 115 live table games, an amazing poker room. You're going to love the poker room. State-of-the-art sports book, 150-foot video wall, plus the ultra-cool X Lounge. You want dining? The options are amazing at the Parks Casino collection of award-winning restaurants. The Parks Grill Steakhouse, Liberty Bell Gastropub and Beer Garden. How about delicious hand-rolled sushi at Bamboo Noodle House? Check out New York's best club comedians every other Thursday night and the best cover bands every weekend only at 360 Lounge. Headliners every weekend at the 1,500-seat Excite Center at Parks Casino. Plus, listen, free parking, valet parking, electric vehicle charging stations for all guests. All right? Listen, check out parkscasino.com for all things Parks Casino. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Now, my man, we're talking fightings. And I love him. Our hometown hero. I know he's all in it. He like this conversation about best Phillies team ever is right up his alley.
Absolutely.
Our dear friend and hometown hero from ESPN, the great Kevin Negandhi. Kevin!
And how we doing, my man? Good to see you.
Dude, how about the Phillies, dude? They're ridiculous right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you know what? There's not a lot of stress because usually in May you're coming off a Sixers heartbreak, and you're like, "Where's this team? How come they're struggling? How come we're middling around 500?" The pitching's been incredible. We've got to savor everything we can about this pitching staff. It's everything we dreamed about and everything we hoped for 10 years ago when we were talking about our big four, right? And this group right now is they're better, which I'll take, which I would have never thought we would be in this situation.
You know, it's interesting because you're right about June is where it all heats up and everything else. But 26-11, all right, 11 straight. I had Buster Olney on yesterday. So Buster and I were talking. We covered ball together back in the day. And we were talking about Citizens Bank Park and how it's become a home field advantage that's unlike any other in baseball. I think we got a bad connection, Kev. What should we do, Joel? Should we have him call to try to restart it?
You know what? Like,
I'll tell you what. Do us a favor. I don't know if you can hear me, Kev, but let's try to rework the connection. So let's try to. Yeah.
And let me try and get back with you.
Yeah. Let's do that. This way we can hear what Kevin has to say. But I thought it was really interesting yesterday when Buster Olney said that, look, they're a true home field advantage. And that's a unique situation. Well, you look at baseball, here he is. Let's try it now. He's still a little glitchy. It's like that movie where the glitch wins it's a kid's movie. What's that kid's movie?
The Gargano show just became a horror show here.
No, there he is. I think we got him. Yes, better. My man.
You know what it's like? It's like that Spider-Man movie where I'm glitching in and out. And can you hear me?
So we were talking about Buster was talking about the home field advantage that the Phillies have.
Yeah.
It's completely like a unique thing in baseball.
I love it. And you know the cool thing about this, Ant, is that players want to feel that, right? I hear this every offseason about free agency, and players want them to match that Phillies environment. They see it in the postseason, and it's contagious, and it's just great. Like, it's the opposite of what we were feeling last week when we were talking about the Knicks invading, Wells Fargo, right? It's the completely different vibe that you get at the bank. And I think Sixers fans will be back. I think it's situational. But, just the vibe, I believe something magical is going to happen every single night. And to have that in May is unbelievable. And, it also helps with the dog days of summer when you hit that little swoon or a losing streak to get this stuff built in where you're winning 18 of 21. And I know they're beating up bad teams, but I don't care because this is what you're supposed to do, right? And I love the way the Phillies – I've always said just get in – let's see what happens, because look at what happened with the Braves and the way baseball's different now. Just get in, make sure you're healthy in September and October, and I don't care about anything else. I love the Phillies' attitude. I think JT Realmuto talked about this too in the spring training. When they were talking about, hey, we want to win the division. They were ticked off about how they had to scrap and fight. And if you can get home field advantage in the postseason, which would be critical when you look at how good the Dodgers potentially will be and how the Braves, have a chip on their shoulder. It's just nice day in and day out. You can go to the ballpark and you can count on certain things, right? And I enjoy it, man. I really do. I don't want it to end. It's fun that baseball is consistent every single night with this team, and they don't play down to the talent that's on the field. They make sure that they play their type of baseball.
And it's funny, the big story obviously brought to you by our good friends at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Find out the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. I was going through some of the teams, right? Some of the old Phillies teams. Which one? If you look at 2011, obviously is the franchise record year. They won 102 games. That was the four aces, right?
Yeah.
It's the Halladay, Lee, Hamels, Oswalt, and Blanton is your fifth starter. So look at the lineup, though, right? Because this rotation is very good. It's not that rotation, but it's very good. Wheeler, would you agree, would be this of the whole group second behind Halladay, right?
Yeah, I've never seen another pitcher that reminds me of Roy Halladay more than Zach Wheeler, and it's all because of makeup. It's, hey, business. I'm pissed off if I'm giving up a run, and my job is to carry this team and try to go 7 to 8 innings. And it's the same attitude that Roy Halladay had that was so distinct with the team. So I love everything about what Wheeler brings, because Halladay to me was the best pitcher since I'm not kidding when I say this. He's the best pitcher the Phillies ever had since Steve Carlton, in my mind. I never felt more comfortable with a guy on the mound than Roy Halladay and when he's in the zone. And I feel the same way with Wheeler. So I put them in the same category.
I agree. So in 2011, Chooch behind the plate, Howard, and that was his last great year, 33 homers, 160 ribbies. Chase, who actually had a down year in 2011, Jimmy, Polanco at third, and it was Victorino, Ibanez, and Pence was the outfield. I mean, JT, Bryce, Stott, Turner, Bohm, Schwarber, Marsh, Castellanos. I think I go today.
Man, listen, I see what you're saying, but half that team that you mentioned in 2012 were World Series champs, and I've already proved it to win the biggest of all things, right? So, man.
Why you go 2011?
I would just because.
Yeah, but
they had
remember,
fun.
Ibanez didn't win. Pence didn't win.
I said half the team, right? Half the
Yes.
line, right?
Yes.
A part of that
Yeah.
was still our core was still there, right?
Yes.
And you're right.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
Halladay didn't win. Lee didn't win. And we had Hamels that was in that rotation, but the rest of that rotation didn't win. You're right. Fair point. But man, like to have Howard, Jimmy, Chase, and Ruiz and Victorino, like, I don't know, man. Like that 2008 team carried over to 2011, 2012 will always be special. No
Totally.
matter what.
I mean, I love that team. Listen, I don't, my favorite guy of all time is Charlie Manuel.
Yeah.
So, Charlie, I love him.
I
But I
agree.
got to tell you, dude, I mean, I feel this way. Like, I love this team. I love Bohm.
Yep.
And I love that kid. I love Stott. I mean, Bryce might be like I can go channel my inner 12-year-old. I love that kid. Like that dude.
Here's the crazy thing.
He's ugly with a personality.
Here's the thing with Bryce. He is a bona fide superstar. Like, and
Yes.
everybody knows that. But have you ever remembered a player actually outplaying his contract and still has like 8-9 years left on their deal?
Crazy.
He's a bona fide superstar. And every single time that there's a moment, he meets that moment. Like,
He does.
it's just unbelievable. And I would have never, it still kind of blows me away how
Dude,
much
he's better. Listen, I love Utley and Howard. I love those guys. He's better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The only guy where it was like the biggest moments who was never
Jimmy.
afraid, I would say Bryce has that, is Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy
Yeah.
Rollins in the biggest moments always delivered. Always
Yes.
delivered. And some people will say, well, Chase too. Jimmy, I will always have Jimmy a special place in my heart because of that MVP season and what he said, when we had no expectations in 2007, he's like, we're going to win. We're going to win the division. And the Mets came in all pumped up and how he led that team as the leader. And everybody, Chase was the quiet one. Ryan was the guy that was still young and then hid behind Jimmy because he knew Jimmy was the guy that would clear the path. And Jimmy just said, bring it all. It's all on me. And Bryce has the same thing. All on me. I will carry us no matter what. I will take us through the highs and lows. And I think that, when it comes to like the combination of Ryan, Chase, and Jimmy, we have it all in one guy in Bryce.
Yes. And then, you can't forget, like, behind the plate, JT's a great player. Like, he's
Yeah, and I don't mean to be Debbie Downer. I think the one weakness this team has is we need a better backup catcher. And I know there's a lot of party animals that are against me because I'm saying that about Stubbs. I just think that when JT needs a break because he's going to go through those slumps for 3 weeks where it's like, oh boy, it's taking a toll as a hitter. We need a catcher that can come in and give him a legit break. I know Stubbs plays a certain role. I'm just saying when it comes to performance physically and the duration of an entire season, we need a better backup catcher. That's the one thing that I think is a big blemish on this team so we can have JT fresh for the playoffs. And how about Bohm? Like, Bohm's a perfect example of just sometimes stick to the course. Let's ride it out. It's the same thing with Tyrese. Like, younger guys, he'll figure it out. Let's just stick with it and stay with the guy and let him develop and blossom at his own pace, right? I mean, he's the best third baseman in the entire league. And 2 years ago, he was struggling through the pressure, and let's just stay with him. Let's just stay with him. and we are reaping the rewards of a guy that could be the heart and soul of this team over the next 5 years when it comes to power.
I'm with you, brother. I'm completely with you. Hey, I want to bring something up to you. And you and I are obviously around the same age, and I think it was really interesting. Buster Olney brought up the clubhouse and how inclusive the clubhouse is, right? Like that they go out of their way to make anybody who's called up or any newcomer feel at home. And I think that that's part of the generation today. And I juxtaposed 1993. So in 93, Macho Row, right? Like, and those guys, listen, that was the culture of the time. All they were was a product of 1993. It's not about like the makeup. That was the makeup. The culture of the time was, Macho Row. It was, they grind you. If you're a newcomer, they would torture you until you pass the test, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And it's interesting because it's better now. Like, but listen, it's not all like I do think that toughness was a great attribute from those days. But the inclusive nature is better today. Would you agree?
I completely agree. Just look how they interact with Rojas and how he fit in last year when they needed him, and like his relationship with Marsh, like how Bryce went to bat for Bryson Stott like a couple years ago, and they were ticked off that he wasn't getting any time, and the previous manager wasn't playing the young guys, and they were like, no, we need to play these guys. They need to help us. Like completely. It's the opposite of what we saw in 93. 93 was a cast of misfits coming together to figure things out, and who were all ticked off, and we had pieces everywhere, and Inky, and like Darren Dalton, and Lenny was was a misfit from the Mets. Like it was all coming together, and they had a chip on their shoulder, right? So I think this is more like, hey, this is a destination to be at. We want to be here, and then we need help from everybody. Let's embrace all these guys because it's not just about us. And that's led by Bryce. I mean, Bryce is the guy, man. He's a great leader, man. And he's kind of built the culture of this clubhouse because you follow the leader. You feed off of his attitude. You feed off of what he wants. And we've seen decisions made. I know people were ticked off about it, and upset about Hoskins, but like, I'm sorry, I miss Reese. But it's Bryce's clubhouse, and Bryce wants to play first, and he's got his guys around him, and the guys that are around him embrace everybody around themselves when they bring in new people. I'm all for that, man. Like it has worked out really, really
and
well.
I think it's a product of today and today's culture.
You're right.
But part of that inclusiveness, I think, is society's evolution, right? Like that's a good thing. That you're embracing everyone in that sense.
Totally, and you nailed it. Totally agree. And we see that. We see that in the NFL. I see that a lot of that in the NBA.
Yeah,
young guys. I mean, when I watch the Thunder, like just they are all about young guys coming together and everybody embracing. Right? Like when you're watching certain teams and you're like, okay, I see it there. You're right. It is this generation, and that's a good thing.
All right. I have Jason Campbell coming on, the head coach at Toledo.
Love him, man. I love him. Underrated.
Right? Isn't he
Underrated.
a good? He's a good coach, and obviously we're going to talk about Kenyon Mitchell, and we're going to talk about. You remember he played with Nick Sirianni back in the day, at Mount Vernon.
Kendall's one of those guys. Every year he produces NFL talent, and you sit there and you wonder how come he doesn't have a Power 5 job, because his name's often mentioned. Like I've heard his name for a handful of other gigs. I love his offense, and so I'm a big fan of Kendall. And you know what? He gets guys prepared. The guys that make it are prepared. So. It'll be an interesting conversation. I look forward to it because he can help us understand a little bit more of the Mitchell adjustment and what we're getting in the city, which we all feel like is a home run pick there at cornerback.
Yeah, it was funny. I saw there was a picture of him or a video of him and DeGene and during rookie workouts, and I'm going, look at these two. These two look like studs.
They are. When you have Kendall on too, do me a favor, ask him a question about like Quinyon talking about the portal and how Nick Saban wasn't shy on draft night, saying their number one target. I'd love to hear about the perspective of Kendall as the head coach who held on to Quinyon, and Quinyon staying loyal to the program, even though millions of dollars were on the other side potentially on going to a Power 5. I mean, big time Power 5.
Oh yeah, it's in my notes, man. It's one of the things because it's one of those things that I loved character-wise from him, Kev. Like I was like, I love this. The kid stayed loyal. That's the kind of kid you want.
Totally. And listen. And if you left, I don't think you and I or anybody would have faulted him. If you got 7 figures on the other side and probably joined an Alabama team that already had 2 potential first-round picks in the secondary, and then they're making you the number one guy, that just shows you how they evaluated Quinyon Mitchell, specifically in that secondary when you've got Kool-Aid and you've got Terrion Arnold already back there, and they felt like if we can get him as our number one guy, it just shows you how good Quinyon is.
Yeah. Incredible. Kev, how are the boys?
They're great. My oldest celebrated his 12th birthday today. So
nice.
Yeah, he's happy. He's in a good place. So we got baseball tonight. We got baseball this weekend. So I appreciate you asking, and they're great. They're pumped up. What was the reaction after take your kid to work day? Did they enjoy it? Did the boys enjoy it?
Yeah, they loved it. Well, I mean, once they they're going to. At 11 and 14, you know. Yeah, I will tell you, the 2 weeks ago, not last week, the weekend before, Moss went yard for the first time, and like legit, like it was about 250, 260.
Attaboy.
He went yard Saturday, and he followed it back on Sunday. So he's got the bug, like in a big way.
Yeah.
Like Take me to the field every day. Take me to the field. Take me to the field. Plus, he got a new bat. So, he's like, I said, dude, I can't turn you down after you went yard twice.
And that's the greatest feeling, especially this generation of kids that want to go outside and play and they don't want a device in their hand. It's the greatest feeling in the world. Like I came home from work last night. It was getting dark, and my middle one, my 10-year-old, I can relate to what you just shared. My 10-year-old had a lacrosse stick in his hand. He's like, can we do some lacrosse right now? And it was getting dark. And I was like, hey, man, it's getting dark. And he's like, can we just stay outside? And I said, I'll go get a glove. Let's go outside. Let's have a catch. And he's like, done, Dad. And you can barely see, and we're on one of the street lights. And
you got to throw it high.
And we're having a catch, and I was like, I will never say no. And for any parent that's listening, you're experiencing that. When they say, let's go outside, just say yes.
Yes.
No matter how tired you are, just say yes. Because it gets them off a screen, it gets them off a device, and it gets them outside. And that's our childhood. Amen,
brother. Love you, buddy. You're the best.
Appreciate you, man. Keep hitting those bombs, Massimo. Talk to you soon, brother.
The great Kevin Negandhi, ESPN, joining us. Yeah, a lot of fun. When it gets dark, JP, you got to throw it high. All right, that's the key. So you can see in the light of the sky, right? Okay. That sharp part of darkness. Love it, love it, love it. That part of the show brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook app, right? The great sportsbook casino app. As the Bet Park Sportsbook casino app will bring you this man, the Brain.
Brain. Red, the Brain, Feinberg.
Brainy.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
What do you say, Brainy? How are you?
I'm doing well. My Thunder took care of business yesterday. Anthony, have a nice 100-1 title ticket, 50-1 to win the West. So I've been heavily invested in the Thunder. Luka doesn't seem right to me, Anthony.
No, he's not. We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, he just doesn't. And it's interesting, again, when you get to this level, obviously you need your best players to be healthy. And as a Sixer fan, and everyone here watching the show knows, Joel has not been healthy for 8 straight years. It's hard when that's the case. I'm just not sure how healthy Luka is, but I still have a lot of respect for the Mavericks. We'll see how it goes.
No, listen. We talked about it yesterday. The game's played out exactly how I thought it would be because I love Boston to roll. That team stinks. That Cleveland team, and I just don't think Dallas, without Luka being himself, they can't win. They can't beat that team. That team's deep. Nobody can take care of Gilgeous-Alexander. He's going to have his way. And I think that's a quick series.
You know what was interesting yesterday's Celtics game, Anthony, from a betting point of view? I'll tell you what was interesting. The line in the game was 13.5/14. Okay, close at that. Boston was up 10 at half. They made the second half. I was so perplexed. I got frozen. I'm like, what? I kept thinking I was missing something. They're up 10. The game line's 13.5/14. So that theoretically they should be laying. I thought at least 5.5.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was 3.5. But
right.
Think of it like this: if they're laying 13.5 in the game,
yeah,
or 14 in the game, and they're up 10 at half.
Yeah. So
you would think it'd be at least. I mean, again, I didn't think it would. They made it. Theoretically, it should be 7-7. Theoretically, you're up 7.5. They made it. You could lay less at halftime when they're already up double digits. Then the game, it just didn't make any sense to me. Now, of course, Boston blew them out. I kept thinking there was some injury, something I was missing. Didn't understand that line. I've been doing this for forever and a day, and I thought that was a very peculiar second half line. But Anthony, yeah, I mean, look, Cleveland, even with Jared Allen, they don't have any real ways to score outside of Mitchell. Boston's an incredibly talented team. I even like some of their bench guys like Pritchard, Anthony, I think are good. Hauser's decent. Cornette. They have a bunch of guys that, role players even aren't that bad. Obviously, losing Porzingis is a blow, but against this team, it's not going to mean anything. I'm just looking forward to hopefully a great finals with them against whoever comes out of the West.
So, a couple of things real quick last night before we get to tonight's game. The Avalanche. So I saw Dallas is up 3-0 after the first period. What was the line that they would come back and win? Did you know?
I didn't get to see it, Anthony. Yeah, it obviously would have been extremely high. It's so hard to come back. I'm going to tell you this: to come back from a 3-goal deficit in hockey, it's almost it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And then the Rangers game. Did you think that was a penalty? Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it. I was watching basketball.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, the Rangers. You give them credit. New York's having a hell of a postseason in terms of
I'm rooting Carolina up. I'm rooting Carolina and Brindy.
Same here. Same here.
Because I can't take it between the Rangers and the Knicks. It's like it's torture.
I feel the same. Yeah, I feel the same way. But look, I guess New York was due to have a good postseason run in sports. I mean, the Knicks haven't been relevant since I don't know. When's the last time the Knicks were good?
It was late 90s.
Right. Okay, so we're talking a long
Van
fairness to
Gundy
them, and that's
Riley.
right. And the Rangers, I guess they got in the finals with King Henrik that one year against the Kings, and they lost. But the Rangers, look,
you got to go back to the same era.
Same era when
Messier
won that iconic Game 7 against. Yeah. They beat Vancouver in the Stanley Cup Finals, and Messier had the big win against the Devils. But you're going way back when. But I'm saying New York is due to have probably a good cycle of sports. And actually, we'll say this, Anthony. I do think the New York Knicks are here to stay. And what I mean by that is, they're going to get Randall back. I'm sure they're going to. I don't think DiVincenzo's a free agent. I think he's still there for another year or two. I just think that they are a good team now. And again, will they be able to pull off a big deal to get like a second true superstar to go? Like, for example, they want Devin Booker. I'm sure the Sixers, I'm sure everyone wants Devin Booker. Would they have the assets to get someone like that? I don't know. But I do think the Knicks are actually going to be a thorn in the East Side for, at least the next couple of years for sure.
What do you got them for? What do you think about tonight?
Anthony, I think the game line's 4.5 on Parks right now. Look, that first game was just such a tough loss for Indiana. I'm not looking at. I know you liked Indiana, Anthony. You were right. They covered. I'm not looking to fade New York here with a low line at home. I just can't do it. I can't. I want so badly to like Indiana and take the
Halliburton worries
points.
me a little bit too, because
Halliburton, again, we keep talking, Anthony, great point, but we talk about, again, these star players who are hurt. He doesn't look I mean, McConnell looks better. Now, again, me and you've watched McConnell probably play in person 200 times, right? We've watched that guy play forever. And I've really always loved TJ. I think he's like a really ideal bench player, and I think he's carved out a tremendous career. And he's been terrific. So when he played in game one, the team looked better. I mean, they just did. They were. I mean, he was terrific. I think he scored like 20 points, and he was really, really good. Like to me, Anthony. And I did bet TJ McConnell over 3.5 assists today, by the way, as an FYI. But I lean New York, believe it or not, Anthony. I do. I'm just not looking to fade this team at home. They did lose Mitchell Robinson, though. We'll see if that hurts them or not. Obviously, he provided depth, and before Hartenstein took his job, he was a productive player for them.
Brad'sBestBets.com, Brad'sBestBets.com, at Brad's Best Bets. Nobody does it like he's the prop king. All right, you're gonna make money with him. What do you got for us today?
Yeah, and I'm going to give you a baseball one, my friend. J.P. Sears, okay?
The A's?
J.P. Sears, Oakland A's pitcher. 28-4 to under 18.5 outs last year. So this year he actually is 3-4 to the overall. Give him credit. But you go to the last 2 years, it's 31-7, and he's going against the Texas Rangers, Anthony, who are one of the, I want to call it, 5 best hitting teams in baseball. Usually they make all the Texas. Yeah, usually they make all the Texas. When you go against Texas, they make them 16.5 outs. Getting 18.5, getting in the 7th inning against this team, I considered a true long shot. You had a late fruit juice. It was pricey, but I think this bet wins close to over 70% of the time. JP Sears under 18.5 outs. I'm going to take an RBI prop today, Anthony. I'm going to be rooting against human achievement again. Vinny Pasquantino. I know, I love you, man. Kansas City Royals under a half an RBI. That on this, Anthony, is great. In his career, he's 120-48 to the under. This has been winning, and you only have to play $1.50. This is 23-12 this year, 43-18 last year, 54-18 the year before. This bet at no point has this been a losing bet. So I'm going to take Vinny P under. And then the NBA, Anthony, it was, again, I told you the TJ McConnell one. I did him over 3.5 assists, but did not love the NBA card night for the props. But I do like Dante DiVincenzo to go over 2.5 assists. Just because, Anthony, he's averaging close to 3 assists a game. Indiana, to me, is not the same stout defensive team as some of these other playoff teams, Anthony. And he plays 46 minutes. I mean, Tom Thibodeau, if you like to play and you're good, he's your man, because he doesn't rest anyone.
No,
so lean there for Dante D to get 3 assists.
Yeah, terrific. Great stuff. Thanks, Brain. Have a
Appreciate
great day,
it, buddy.
buddy.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Here he is,
Bye.
the Brain checking in. All right, JP.
All right, cuz.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about TrueMark here, ladies and gentlemen. And guys, over the week we've been talking about my story about my bank and the scary Saturday morning when I woke up to them actually closing, getting bought up by another bank. That's when TrueMark came into play, because they talked to me about the difference of a credit union, and that's what we're talking about here today. When you join a credit union like TrueMark Financial, you become a part owner, which means profits come right back to you instead of going to those shareholders. Better rates, lower fees, a better return on savings, and more flexible options with all the same digital tools and technology to make your life easier. TrueMark has local roots. They're headquartered right here in Fort Washington. We love rooting for a local, and we have 24 TrueMark branches here in the Philadelphia area. So guys, you are supporting local here with TrueMark. Becoming a member of a credit union has so many benefits over becoming a customer at a bank. It's an absolute total no-brainer. So here's what you got to do here, guys. Get started here today with your credit union journey. Head on over to truemark.com/PHLY to learn more, or you can find a branch near you. Like I said, 24 branches here in the Philadelphia area. They got some great people over there who can get you started on your credit union here today. Again, that's truemark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA. And thank you to our friends over at TrueMark.
All right, JP, let's talk about ButcherBox. We tell you all about ButcherBox. It came on during the NFL draft, and the Meat Locker. So Baldy and I, Brian Baldinger and I, created the Meat Locker, right? So we could, go into his office at NFL Films, and we're breaking down the tape, and we're eating meat, right? So we found Butcher Box. And Butcher Box is the greatest. All right. Look, I have 2 kids, all right, 2 animals, 14 and 11, 2 sons, all right, and they're carnivores, all right? So what do the carnivores want? They want steak. They want all kinds of pork and ribs, all right, and you name it. And so the beauty of Butcher Box, 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork-raised crate-free, and wild-caught seafood. All right, it's unbelievable what you get. Humanely raised, no antibiotics, no added hormones, right? Because I worry about that when it comes to feeding the boys. Anthony is got football workouts starting, right? So I got to get him on the protein, and he loves it. So trust me, go to butcherbox.com/PHLY, butcherbox.com/PHLY, $20 off your first box. All right? I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's awesome, man. You got tips and recipes, and the value is amazing, and the food is just tremendous. We're grilling season. Head over to butcherbox.com/PHLY. All right. It's 10 a.m. across the Delaware Valley. This portion of the Anthony Gargano Show brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to your nearest Rite Aid today for all your goods, riteaid.com. Check out the pharmacy, Rite Aid. All right, coming up shortly, we will talk to Jason Candle. The rookie workouts have started, JP. I saw footage, and I'm looking at Kenyon Mitchell, and I'm looking at Cooper DeJean, and I'm going, look at this secondary.
Yeah, it gives you a little thoughts, get a little flashbacks of 02, cuz with Lido and Sheldon and Michael Lewis.
Good job.
I love that team.
Yeah, that was
I love that secondary.
Yeah, that was terrific.
Great complimentary for B-Doc as well.
Yeah, I get excited. So the schedule, the NFL schedule is, we thought it was coming out Thursday.
Right.
Pushback, it's coming out next Wednesday. So a week from today, May 15th, we'll get the NFL schedule.
Yeah, and also too, actually, while you were talking there to Brad, our boy Zach Berman said that Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio's gonna be talking to the press.
Yeah,
this week too. That should be good.
First time.
Yeah.
So it's
good stuff there.
Yeah, it's the first time. So I'm looking forward to see what both new coordinators have to say. But I'm real excited right now to be joined by our next guest. He's one of the terrific coaches in college football. 2-time MAC Coach of the Year. And, of course, he was the coach of Kenyon Mitchell, the Eagles' first-round pick. And he very close with Nick Sirianni. In fact, he played at Mount Union with Nick. So looking forward to talking to Jason Candle, head coach, Toledo Rockets. What do you say, Jason? How are you, buddy?
Good morning. How we doing?
Very good. Very well. Very well. Thanks for joining us. You run an amazing program. I know, listen, you probably do a lot of recruiting in our area. It's a great football area, and you guys, what you have established at Toledo, you get your guys ready for the NFL. You run a terrific program. Just want to tell you that.
Well, I appreciate it. Obviously you're only as good as the people around you and the players that you have. And man, oh man, we've been fortunate to have some really good ones. And the city of Philadelphia is getting a really good one here that they just picked in the first round the other night. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to watch his growth and his development under what I think is a tremendous organization and a great staff.
Yeah, could you tell us about Kenyon a little bit and how you saw him develop over his time with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Q always had, extreme measurables, 6-foot corner, that could really, he's 4'4" out of high school, and strength really improved here. He's 225, 20 plus times on the bench, and that's kind of a rare combination for, the measurables of what it looks like. But, what I would say is not a highly recruited guy coming out of high school, but, and as I've said before, this guy is a 5-star human being, though. This is a guy that, makes your team better from the character that he brings to the to the team, his work ethic each and every day, and how he goes about and how he approaches his business. A contagious work ethic, and a guy like that you can always count on doing the right thing. So I think if you have a foundation like that, you combine that with elite physical skills, the sky's the limit of any level of football that you play. And we certainly benefited from all those things here at Toledo.
Well, Coach, I gotta tell you, the thing that stood out the most and all the talk about Q was from Nick Saban. So when Nick Saban's saying that he's expecting him to enter the portal, and he's like, he was our number one target, and he does not enter the portal. In fact, he wants to stay loyal to you and Toledo. And to me, that's all I had to know about the kid, and just how loyal, and you talk about five-star human. I thought that was kind of spoke volumes.
Yeah, I think this guy is raised by two incredible women, his mom and his grandma, who are very influential in his life. And, they've kept this guy grounded from day one. And, that's not a common thing in today's world with young people. It's really hard for them to stay grounded. And in most cases, it's not their fault. But this guy has always been able to keep the main thing. He's always been able to keep, moving in the right direction and not really worrying about. Lots of kids think globally and think what it could be, and all of these things that sometimes are real, sometimes aren't. That guy's always thinking locally. He's always where his feet are. The loyalty you mentioned, that's a testament to the people in the building. And, I get the credit for that sometimes, but really it has nothing to do with me. It's about the fabric of our team and the friendships and the relationships he's made here. And, when things get hard and, there's critical moments in a football game, trust is the number one thing that I think pushes you over the hump. And he's got great trust in his teammates, and they have great trust in him. And he was not ready to fracture that, no matter, what it looked like or who came calling. And for that, you take your hat off to the kid, because like I said, that's not a common thing in today's world.
Did you wonder? I'm sure deep down, were you questioning, like, am I going to lose him?
Well, tampering goes on all over college football. There's guys getting recruited off your roster right now. That's the world we live in. So, all I can do is have honest conversations with our players and make sure that we understand, what it looks like for these guys going forward. I think that, before this ever NIL stuff and transfer portal stuff ever became part of college football, I always thought that, players were owed two things: an honest assessment of where they're at, and I think it's our job then to try to paint a clear picture of what it looks like for them. And in Q's case, that was, hey, you're an All-American here. You've already proven that. Your name is on a national stage. You had 4 interceptions in a game last year as a junior. You backed it up with a really good season. Your springtime was in the 4.3s. You're going to put yourself all the way up those draft boards. And from there, how far you want to take it will be up to you. And he really took that and ran with it. And obviously to be the first corner picked in the draft, that speaks volumes for the work that he put in.
Jason Kendall, head coach, Toledo Rockets, 2-time MAC Coach of the Year. Tell me about the first time you met Nick Sirianni.
Obviously teammates at Mount Union. I transferred in there. Nick, his brothers both played there. Nick is the third of 3 brothers that played at Mount. So, that name has been around there for a long time. His older brother, Mike, actually recruited me coming out of high school to go to Mount Union when he was coaching there. So I was familiar. But I think, what you see with Nick is what you get. Very authentic. And, I appreciate that, and I want to know what the rules of engagement are, no matter who it is, what it is. Right. So what you see is what you get. A guy that really loves people and loves to be around and really loves the game of football and everything that goes with it. So, it's been fun to watch, and really, it's not a surprise that he's been a great fit for Philly.
And I can only imagine the conversations that you guys had. Wide receivers, offense. I can only imagine those talks.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's one of the better ones, obviously, to ever come through there when it comes to excelling your career after sport. And just a really unique friendship and a lot of conversations that you can have organically. That it's not picking up the phone and trying to sell or recommend somebody. He's heard about Quinyon Mitchell for years.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. And of course, you know all about the Eagles and Howie and with that organization that's become really one of the class organizations of the NFL.
Well, first class. From top to bottom, right? just how they went about the draft process, how they went about everything, and really identifying who they want and who they wanted, and and I think again, for second, third year now in a row where a really strong draft class. Take my guy out of it, right? Like look at all of the pieces that they've been able to to put together, and they've come through our building quite a bit, and every person that has come through here has done a really first class job, from scouts all the way up to the conversations with the head coach and conversations with Howie.
So I got to ask, because I love college football, right? We love it, and it's in such a state of change, right? Dramatic change. What do you see on the horizon? Like I was talking to Matt Rule, who's a dear friend, and we were talking about how it's like heading toward basically two conferences. It's wild. Like, what do you see in the future of this thing?
Well, I mean, obviously, we've got to continue to try to do a good job of making sure that the players are kept at the forefront of all decisions made, and what's best for them and their well-being, and then obviously from there try to put some structure around what's going on right now. I think a lot of things are moving in a crazy direction. What that looks like in the next 4 or 5 years may not look anything like what it'll look like in 10 years from now, but I think whether you're a young person, whether you're an adult here going through this as a coach, everybody wants structure. Everybody wants some type of formality to what it's going to look like. And man, oh man, like to a certain extent, this is like going through the pandemic again. When you talk about you're in a sense of you're looking for consistency, but there is no consistency. So you almost have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that's part of it. So there's a lot of smart people that'll get in rooms and make decisions that are way higher than my pay grade, and we go from there. And you can only just like you tell your team, you can only control the things that you can control, and worrying about the things that you can't, I don't know what that gets you in today's world. So we're going to play by the rules of engagement that are out there, and do the best job we can to keep putting a great product on the field for Toledo.
And you have. Yeah, I mean, you were talking about Ohio football, what you've done at Toledo. It's just wild. The whole NIL portal, it's almost like you're operating in a perpetual state of free agency.
Well, you are, and it's funny because I think some things are directed towards being NFL-like, so to speak, right? But everybody knows when there's periods to do things in NFL versus when there's not. And this is, as you mentioned, this is a year-round thing. So, you just do the best job you can, and you make sure you continue to make decisions based off of, putting the players first and foremost, and the organization, and try to stay as selfless in the process as you possibly can, because it's really easy to get frustrated on a personal level, but that's not going to win you any games, and that's not going to make your program any better.
So I want to ask you, so just selfishly speaking, I have two young boys who play football and youth football, and I'm curious because you're around it. You're recruiting all the time. The state of youth football, it's we talk about being in a wild situation. I mean, the spring leagues now popping up, which I think is too much, but I think you got to encapsulate it in the fall. But what when you're looking at youth football, advice for those kids, advice for the parents, what are you seeing?
Well, I got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old myself, so I know, whether it's gymnastics, it's dance, it's football, it's soccer, it's baseball, and it all overlaps, right? There's never a break. I still believe that when we start to get older and we start to get into middle school and high school, we are victims of robbing young people the opportunity to compete. Everybody needs a trainer. Everybody needs to be sports specific, and there's lots of stuff coming out now in Major League Baseball and all these other, professional sports of sport specific injury. And I think there's some validity to some of that. So I'm not, my advice to parents would be, don't rob your children the opportunity to compete because it's about a scholarship in one particular thing. We've been giving out scholarships for 100 years, and kids used to play 3 sports all the time. And when you were the best player at your high school, you played football, you played basketball, you played baseball, and you did what's best because you knew you were only going to be 16, 17, or 18 years old one time. And I think these, just like in college football, sometimes the adults make it about the adults instead of the kids making it, instead of remaining, it being about the kids. And then I think my advice to the kids would be to, like I said, just understand where you're at, be where your feet are. Everybody wants to accelerate the process. Everybody wants to go to college a year early. Everybody wants to go to the NFL a year early. And then sometimes I think we race to regret. And I hate to look back and see kids that have regret that they didn't do a specific thing. And compete, play, have fun, be a 16-year-old kid, be a 15-year-old kid. It only happens once. And, there's probably a couple adults on this call right now that we'd like to go back to some of those years if we could do it, and we'd do it again in a second. So have fun, be where your feet are, and enjoy the moment and enjoy the ride.
Amen, brother. You got that right, man. Sometimes I watch the kids and I go, wow, man, I wish they didn't have that equipment when we were growing up. Like, you go, wow, this is awesome. Yeah, it's actually the greatest part of fatherhood, and you appreciate this, is that you get to do all the fun stuff over again with your children.
Yeah, you go to these youth sporting events, and it's funny because you sit back and there are a couple coaches coaching my son's football team, and they're like, "Coach, can you help us with like whoa, no, I'm sitting over here and I'm going to be quiet and I'm watching, but I'm going to pretend like I'm not and be on my phone here for a minute, but don't bring me into this.
I'm dad. All right, just leave me alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I got to tell you, you're a pleasure, man. You're a terrific coach, and you've built an amazing program, and I wish you the best of luck, buddy.
Well, I appreciate you so much for having me on. Thanks for all you do for college sports, pro sports, and sending the message out there of all the good that we do.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, Jace. Jason
all right,
Campbell.
have a great day.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Jason Candle, who is terrific, head coach Toledo. He's terrific. I love him. I'm quite frankly, I'm shocked that he's still that he's at Toledo.
Yeah,
because he should have been gobbled up. He's a terrific football coach.
Yeah.
I know he loves Ohio. He's from there. The whole thing, understands it, and that's good football. I love the MAC. Actually, I Thursday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night.
I remember when Temple was in the MAC.
Yeah. It's good football. Yeah. But he's a hell of a coach. I'm again surprised he's not at the at even a bigger school hasn't come. I know they flirted with him.
Yeah, it should be coming soon. He's doing a great job. Obviously, getting one of your kids to get going in the first round definitely is going to help his stock as well. I'm the same way. I used to love the Mid-American Conference. Used to watch Tuesday night, Wednesday night.
So my dream, right? Like especially during the fall, because I'm an idiot, right? Because I love. There's something about I find solid, like peace, watching a game. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, right? Like it's always been whatever's going on in life, and we all have stuff and crosses to bear and everything else, responsibilities. But when you're watching a game, it just takes you away from it.
Yeah, I agree.
And
with
I find like immense comfort. I read a story. This is a great story. It was written. God, I mean, it's got to be mid 2000s, and it was in Esquire magazine. And the author was suffering from really bad depression, like debilitating depression. And the only thing that gave him solace was watching college basketball.
That's awesome.
With Brent Musburger.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right? So he would watch, because you remember, toward the latter piece of it, Brent goes and he's doing a lot of college basketball. He did a lot of the Big 12 kind of, and so it was, the Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and he'd sit there and he'd hear Brent's voice. And it was a calming effect that came over him. And I've always liked that, viewed sports that way. Like I love all the broadcasters, and I love Brent. But I could see where that's just peaceful.
It is. No, that's a perfect word. It's just super peaceful. Like for me, like a lot of people wonder, like ask me why I don't do fantasy sports. It's because like on Sundays, like I just want to, or Saturdays, I just want to sit there and watch the game because I enjoy the purity, the purity of the sport. I love watching those matchups in the trenches or that wide receiver cornerback match. Like those little things are fun. It makes it so awesome, cuz.
Yeah, it is. The other piece of it is what I always think about football is the culture of it.
Yeah.
So the culture of football is celebrated differently everywhere you go. Like, obviously, like we celebrate football from an Eagle standpoint. It's very collegiate, the way we do it.
Yeah.
You know, we have our
Tailgate.
EAGLES.
Yeah.
Right? Like we have it. But in every kind of pocket, like football in Tennessee, right, as opposed to football in Louisiana, right, at LSU, Baton Rouge, you know, it's celebrated, or Midwest like Nebraska, right, or Colorado. It's celebrated different from, you know, the by conference. And I always thought, you know, like that Ohio thing, like Ohio State and Toledo and all these other ones, and the MAC ones, Ohio U, right? Like you celebrate it differently. The food, you know, I always thought that was a fun aspect of it. And you know what? You get that a lot in soccer.
Yeah, that's right, cuz. That's
especially because all the European countries.
Why do you think I always plead for soccer to work here in the States? Because it's literally the same thing. The way fans, you know, take in the sport, the fan culture, you know.
I mean, I can't get enough of that Premier League. Like just the way they, you know, the chants. The way they, you know,
our chant is "Fly Eagles Fly" is the fight song, Road to Victory.
Yeah,
we got EAGLES. We do that all the time. I love, you know, so I love to travel with the birds. I love everywhere we go. You hear the E. Yeah, I remember Nashville 2018 on what's that, Broadway, Broad Street, whatever they call that main road. Yeah, all you heard cause the whole week, every 5 minutes. They were tired of us.
Oh yeah,
they were tired.
You're walking down Broadway, and in Nashville. And you would hear the echoes. And you'd hear the echoes, whatever town, you know, they're in. Yeah. Like we went to Denver, and I remember you're walking down the street, like in the downtown Denver where all the bars are and stuff. Mm-hmm. And people, you'd hear the chants. Because I was talking to somebody there, it was fascinating. They go, yeah, well, the bars close early, like 11 o'clock. And, you know, Philly people, we're out late, you know, we're marauders, right? Like, we're out. And all you heard, like, you could hear from 2 blocks away, like,
it's
you heard,
awesome.
like, those chants off in the distance.
I love it, man.
It was pretty cool.
They're all juiced up, liquored up.
Yeah.
And go Birds!
Go Birds!
Go Jalen for 3 touchdowns, dude.
Go Birds!
I love the Philly Delco accent. Oh, it's my favorite.
That's hysterical.
It's awesome.
Tell us about what we got. We're going to talk about game time.
Let's
Speaking
talk
of
about game time, cuz.
Right?
Listen, guys, it's that time of year. Obviously, listen, April's done, but that doesn't mean that sports aren't over, guys. That's because we're in full swing with the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. So if you want to head on over to New York, you definitely can. But here in Philadelphia, we're in full swing with baseball season and soccer season. So what better right now than to check out these games right now with the Game Time app? My favorite part about the Game Time app is its functionality. It's a free app, and the best part about it is that you can see your seats before buying. That's the best part about it. And, you know, you don't have to guess, what's my seat going to look like? Am I going to have a good view? No. They'll show you right there, right on the app. And you know how, like, when you go to, like, some of those other competitors and they have, like, those hidden fees when you go to checkout? No. Game Time tells you everything you're paying for right before you're going to go check out. And that's the beautiful part about it, guys. And I love that they give you the best prices with right before game time. So, like, you know, if you're gonna go to the Phils, you've got a 1 o'clock game here today. You know, head on down, tailgate a little bit, bring some hoagies, get a couple brews, chill in the parking lot, and then right before the game, Go right on the Game Time app and go get yourself those best seats. And we, of course, got you hooked up always, guys, with that promo code. You can see it right at the bottom left here of your screen on YouTube. The promo code is PHLY, and that'll get you $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, you have to create an account here. You do need to create an account here on the Game Time app. Download that app, create that account, use the promo code PHLY on your first purchase. That'll get you $20 off. Again, that's PHLY. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And I'll see you at the next Philly sporting event, guys.
I love it, buddy. All right, let's talk about Rite Aid. Yes, Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. So here's the thing. I woke up this morning, and because we have the rain, high mold, I'm sneezing my head off. I can't have a conversation, right? So I literally go, all right, note to myself, stop at Rite Aid. So I got to go see Marge. Since VG's in Seattle, I got to go see Marge on 10th Street. All right, so I'm going to check out that. Rite Aid. You got to go to your local Rite Aid for all of your allergy relief. And you know, the beauty about the Rite Aid pharmacists is that they're there to help. They are so friendly, and they're there to guide you. Because listen, all that over-the-counter stuff, you know, who makes you tired, what could be effective. You always got questions. I got questions all the time, right? So you talk to one of the Rite Aid pharmacists. Also, if you need any of your vaccines, you need your shots, all right? Shingles, get it. Cousin Joey had him. Not fun, all right? Get it. If you're over certain age, you got to get your shingles vaccine, pneumonia, tetanus, whooping cough, chicken pox, COVID-19, whatever it is, get your shots at Rite Aid, all right? You got to do that stuff. Rite Aid has it all. RiteAid.com, all right? Go there. Now, here's the beauty. You have any questions about what shots you need, and if you're not sure up to date, you're nervous to ask questions, that Rite Aid pharmacist will take the time to make personalized recommendations based on your health history and discuss any concerns, all right? No questions are too small. Just walk in or schedule an appointment, all right? Friday, 10 a.m., 6 p.m., all right? Now, state, age, and health restrictions may apply. Ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for detail, RiteAid.com. Check it out. Thanks to our friends over at Rite Aid. All right, time now for the Clubhouse. Let us go out to Seattle, where our third member is hanging. That's right. Violations Greg Caputo. VG.
There he is.
Well, you said sunny there.
VG.
No rain, huh?
Nah, it's nice out here. Hold on, let me get the Jimmy Lynam effect on. All right, I think I'm good.
You're obsessed. You're obsessed.
It's weird. It's weird, dude, because like before I'm live, I'm dead set in the middle of my screen, so it's set up perfectly. And then when I guess they shrink me down, I'm all pushed out to the side. So I want to be center frame, so these people can see how good I look out here in the Seattle weather.
Yeah. So what's going on? What's been happening out there?
Dude, yesterday I went over to the old Pike's Market. Where they throw the fish around. Yeah, hung out for a bit there. I got this Market Grill sandwich.
Okay.
I went to the Market Grill to get this world famous salmon blackened sandwich. I got a picture of it. I think I said to Julia, $20 for this sandwich.
$20.
Yeah, that's getting outrageous. These sandwich prices.
$20.
Yeah. Look at the salmon is so thin on it.
The tomato's thicker than the salmon, cuz.
Dude, that's supposed to be a Seattle Northwest salmon?
It's a travel
looks
channel.
like a skunkle salmon.
That's good.
Yeah, dude. It's one of those Travel Channel best of world famous. Ah, man, it was the worst $20 I spent out here. The hell.
And the bread probably sucked.
The bread was this weird, thin, spongy, no bite to it roll. Yeah, it was not fun to eat. I was like, every bite, I was just so miserable thinking about $20 for this sandwich.
Is that their thing, VG? Just seafood and fish?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Salmon is king out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Lots of seafood.
Speaking of king, the king crab's pretty big out there too.
Yeah. They got like that whole market's just full of all those shellfish kind of giant oysters. Some guys next to me at the bar were talking about it's steamer season. They're going out to get some steamers, and I guess they're allowed to collect 40 steamers a day. I was like,
really?
what's a fucking steamer? Oh, sorry. I was like, what's a steamer?
We feel you, VJ.
Yeah, man.
Oh, my boy.
Dude, anyone who's not paying attention to this show, because I watch it before I'm here, and you got Brad giving unders on half RBIs for a minus $150. And then you're like hysterical asking the important questions. What do carnivores want?
And then we give you the serious, right? How great was Jason Candle?
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's running a great program out there, man. I see you spent a lot of time.
We know from Maction, we always love our Mac football.
Yeah, little Maction.
Yeah.
I used to manage a metal band from Toledo, so I spent a lot of time out there.
Okay.
It's not an easy town to recruit to. It is miserably depressing and boring. So kudos to him for getting them kids out there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's Midwest. Those towns are they all look alike.
Bowling Greens, the Ohio U's, Ball State.
Oh
my God, Western Michigan.
Yeah,
Eastern Michigan.
Yeah.
Toledo's right on the Rust Belt, kind of. So it's really a depleted town. Like it's kind of similar to Buffalo. That area. It's just a lot of gray and brown, like abandoned buildings. Yeah, it's not a fun place.
Yeah,
they do have a good art museum though. It's weird.
Really? Yeah, look at that. Who knew? I love it.
Right?
I love it. Who knew that?
How about these Phils, dude? Like, are you kidding? Like,
we're going to get into the discussion of that. I have a whole discussion that I want to throw by you because you can talk about this. Don't forget this portion of the Anthony Gargano Show brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out the credit union difference, TrueMark.com. All right. So I started the show talking about this. 26-11. So yesterday, Berríos comes in with a 1.44 ERA, right? Top ERA in all of baseball. Dealing, right? Dealing. And they rake him.
And he didn't play a lot of stiffs. Like, he played the Padres, the Mariners, Houston, like Kansas City twice. Kansas City's having a good year. Like,
they have a good lineup. Yeah.
So he's been pitching really well this year.
8 runs, 7 hits, 3 2/3 innings. So John Schneider, who's the manager of the Blue Jays, said they made him work. And I took that quote and I was like, that speaks volumes because you saw it Sunday night against Logan Webb of the Giants. They made him work, right? They were patient. That changeup that dropped out of the strike zone, they did not chase, right? They made him work, and they made Berríos work yesterday. This lineup is locked in.
It's nasty. It's fun.
But
and that's
smart.
a big difference from the past. Like, it's a total opposite of what we saw in the playoffs last year. They were just swinging at everything, it felt like.
Yeah, totally.
It really made some changes.
I mean,
that's a big part.
Made him work. I just thought that spoke volumes. 26-11 VG, 7 in a row, 11 straight at home, 18-21 overall. All right. So it gets you thinking, is this the best Phillies team of all time? So 2011 has the record, 102 wins. In 76 and 77, Phillies won 101 games apiece. 2010 and 93, they won 97. And in 80, they won 94. So is this the best team? Are they better than in 2011? 2011, of course, was the headliner of the Four Aces.
I like this squad better than 2011 right now. Yeah.
I do too.
I think 80 is tough to beat. It's early. 80's tough to beat with the likes of Carlton and Schmidt and Rose. I mean, that's tough. But, I mean, they're on pace
Actually,
right now.
I think they're better than 80.
Yeah?
You know what's funny? They only won 91 in 1980. In 76 and 77, they won 101.
Well, this team is just good everywhere. I mean,
But this team,
obviously, listen, like the bats are really good, but you have an MVP in Bryce Harper, and then the pitching is just the staff. They're just feeding off of each other, and even the bullpen's been pretty solid as of late too.
all right. Well, so go
defensively.
Go.
Defensively,
Well, let's
the
go.
world
Yeah, let's
improved.
go offense. Let's go bat and defense. All right, position by position. So in 11, Chooch. In 80, Boone. Give me JT over both of them.
I know it hurts to go against Chooch, but yeah, you got to go JT.
Yeah,
Right? No, but seriously.
JT.
All right. First base, Peace. Great. In 11, 33 homers, 116 ribbies. His last great year. All right. I think you got to go Bryce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not Peace's best year.
Well, I mean,
Again, it's
still a good
sentimental,
year.
but yeah, I got to go Bryce. It's sentimental. I don't want to go against Peace.
Well, Bryce,
Yeah, I go Bryce.
Bryce. Yeah, no, you got to go Bryce.
right?
Yeah, that's probably the closest, but you're going Bryce.
You know, Utley versus Stott, obviously, and Manny Trio. But, you know, I mean, he's young. I got to throw a little Manny Trio action at you.
Love it.
Shortstop, Jimmy. You go Jimmy.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
Turner. Then you got Bo, the great Larry Boa.
Turner ain't above Boa yet. Come on.
I agree. No,
All
I'm
right.
with you. I'm just going through the guys. Third base, you Schmitty, obviously, but you got Polanco versus Bohm. I go Bohm over Polanco.
Yeah. Polanco had a big dome. You remember that? He had a big head.
He had the big head. Kind of, you're right. He does have a big head, like Vinny. Our man Vinny here, our operations manager at PHLY, Vinny, he's got the big head.
I'll tell you, I'm in a fantasy league with Jamie and some others. And the name of our league is Placido Polanco's hat size.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that name.
He's got an angular head, don't he?
Dude, I got,
You
I'm
have
a
an angular
pinhead.
head.
Dude, I'm a pinhead. I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
get hats. I'm between a 7 and a 6 and 7/8. I'm like the smallest hat size.
Wow.
Yeah,
have
no,
to go
well, you have
snapback.
an angular
It's a weird
head.
head.
It's a
I'm
long,
a long
head.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a long head.
Yeah, you are.
And it doesn't help that the goatee accentuates the longness of it either.
Exactly. You look like the devil with that goatee.
Hey, relax with that stuff. Come on. El Diablo?
I can get your wife with a caper. All right. The outfield. Now, obviously, in 80, you had Gary Lee Maddox in center, Shake and Bake McBride in right, and the Bull Greg
Love me.
Luzinski in left. In 2011, Ibanez, the Flying Hawaiian, and Hunter Pence.
Yeah, I go 80 there.
And then here, you got Castellanos, Marsh, and Schwarbaum.
I think I have to go 80.
Yeah, I like the 80 outfield.
Yeah, I got to go 80 on that.
I like this outfield, though.
Yeah, it is.
I
is
like
good.
this outfield.
Yeah, I like it, but I mean, Gary
I like
Maddox
Marsh.
defense. You got
Yeah.
a little punch from the bull, and Shake was just so
No,
cool.
I listen, I agree. 80 all day. 80, you had, the greatest bumper stickers. Just go talk about bumper stickers.
Okay.
2/3 of the earth is covered by water. The rest by Gary Maddox. Wasn't that a
Dude,
great
his
line?
strides, he was like a gazelle out there. When he chased
was.
balls down, he was so
He was
smooth
like
with those long strides.
6'5", and he was elegant.
I met Maddox.
He
Maddox,
was elegant.
in 2019. I served him at Morton's, the old Morton's on Walnut. He used to come in all the time.
How was he?
He was a quiet dude, very to himself, but I got a couple smiles out of him. But he's a quiet dude. He's chill. He's a chill dude. Came in, got a steak. And he left.
Really?
Yeah, he was a good dude. Still in the area.
a big
I don't know if
barbecue
he's
guy
still
now,
now, but that
right?
was like now it's 5 years now. But yeah, served Gary Maddox.
Gary
Barbecues.
Lee.
You got ribs and stuff now. I always see people talking about.
Yeah. So when you look at it, when you look at this team, I mean, You got a good bullpen. You got a great rotation, and you got a great lineup. Look, they're already at 26. It's going to be fun seeing if they can break the record of 102.
It feels like it was just last week where we were saying, are they ever going to go below 500 this year? And they just have been on a tear.
Yeah. Right?
Ever since that conversation, VG.
They've gone nuts, man. I mean, the schedule's been helpful to them.
It has.
But, I mean, they're not just a team. I mean, yesterday they put up 8 runs on Berríos with that lineup. I mean, it's not the stud lineup with you got Stubbsy in there,
Clemens
in there.
Yeah. And how about Clemens, man?
Breaking.
I mean, not for nothing,
4
right?
ribbies.
Home run, triple, 4 ribbies. Yeah, I root for him. I like him.
Everything he hits is extra bases.
Yeah.
VG, listen to this. Though, I don't know if you've seen the schedule, but we have a couple NL East matchups here with the Marlins, Mets, and Nats. And then on May 21st, a 3-game set against the reigning World Series champs. That should be fun.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. And we don't even have Trey. We're going to smoke through all that without Trey.
Hopefully we get Trey back.
It's phenomenal
for
to watch. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like being out of the city and just everyone's talking about the Phils. If they're into baseball, they're talking about the Phils out here.
Well, again, when we talked about, when we had Buster Olney, like the Phillies were his pick to win it.
That's right.
The Phillies, we talked. And that always makes me a little squeamish because you can't predict what's going to happen. Baseball's the one sport. Like football, you go, all right, I have an idea. Like you're going to be in the playoffs. It's a matter of probably the matchups, but you're a true contender, right?
Yeah.
Baseball, these series are wild. Like you could be 2011 is the lesson, right? Where they were the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
And you're ousted in a 5-game series.
Well, because, last year was the perfect example. Who, at this point last year, who would have thought Arizona was going to be one of those teams?
Right.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, but they're a blast. All right, time out for best and worst of the night. And, of course, we got VG's Nuggets going away. Let's go.
Nugs.
All right, our best of the night. I'll start with you, JP.
I want to go to – so yesterday was the 22-year anniversary of probably one of the most famous press conferences in Philadelphia sports history. We talking about practice? Not the game, game.
Oh, snap.
Practice. 22-year anniversary yesterday.
I was there.
You were there in that room?
Yeah.
So, kind of like
I'll never forget. He was going off, and it was like, wow.
No one thought he was going to go off like that.
Nah. Well, AI was never scripted. Like, nowadays, players are, prepared, right? It's
PR's got their back.
Yeah, but even everything that's said is meant. Like, look at LeBron, right? Like, down to social media, right? And all that stuff. It's all premeditated. AI was just all emotion. It just was in the moment. And I'll never forget it. I was there. I was listening to it. And all of a sudden, he's like, because somebody talked about Larry Brown, and they talked about practice. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what, are you kidding me? That's where he goes into the whole thing because he's like, look at what I do during the game, and you're busting my balls about practice? That's basically what he said.
I'm saying you're supposed to be the franchise player. You want to talk about practice? Not the game. Practice.
Well, that was the thing. It was Larry Brown. Like, Larry was like old school, and it was like, dude, I need you to get better. We need you to practice. Meanwhile, Derek Coleman would be there with the paper on the side of practice reading the Daily News.
Dude, Larry and AI were like such a great odd couple. Like curmudgeon old basketball guy and then the new blood AI coming in. They were great together. They should have did like a buddy road trip movie.
Oh, yeah. And what's funny? Larry was a handful, too. Like, the stories,
he's not low maintenance.
Oh, my God. He was completely high maintenance. They had to stay at certain level hotels. You should see the dinner bills that were on the road that were incurred.
Oh, my God.
He wasn't paid for that. That was the team paid for that. That expensive wine? He had a wine. He had good taste. LB.
I bet.
All right, so give me your what was that? Worst or best?
That was best. We're at
one of the best. So I found a place called the Alibi Room. I had some pizza and some beers with the staff there, and I came across a staff, huge NBA fans, and we got talking. I ended up talking with like 5 old school Seattle basketball fans, and
They're coming back, VJ.
It was interesting to talk to guys. Like, they have such a passion for the NBA. They don't have a team out here, but we just got reminiscent, man, about those old Sonics teams, and I had a blast, man. You remember those uniforms?
Oh yeah,
dude, they were the best.
Yeah,
look at them. Mm-hmm. Those uniforms were so ridiculous. And then
Team
like,
Gary Payton, man. Gary Payton,
Ron Kemp, Jack Sikma. Like, there's some good Gus Williams,
Slick Watts.
Yeah, it's such a franchise, and it's like I just had a really great time talking basketball with some youngsters. None of them were under. They were all under like 35.
Okay.
Such knowledge about basketball.
I still don't understand why that franchise doesn't exist again. Because people would freak out over it, especially now. If you did a reboot of the Sonics, they would be cool.
Yes. Well, Hurricane Katrina, you remember when the Hornets had to move to OKC? The NBA saw the way they supported the Hornets, and they were like, I think they would work. And then you had the Oklahoma guy buy the Sonics, and then the NBA was like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah, but they need to go back to the Sonics.
No, 100%. I think they are going to come back. So the Kraken are feeling the pressure right now.
Yeah.
So that's why they want to go all in on Brindy.
Yeah.
Bring that because once the Sonics come, everyone's going to forget about the Kraken.
Yeah. Well, but is that a 4-for-4 town?
They're big on the soccer.
I think it's a 5-for-5 town. I see a lot of soccer.
Well,
stuff,
I mean that being a euphemism. 4-for-4.
Yeah, but I think they're all in. I mean, I don't see much Kraken. I see Kraken billboards. There's a lot of Kraken marketing going on.
Okay.
I don't know how much that translates. Since the season's over, like, everyone's focused out here on baseball and hockey that I bumped into.
They haven't gotten out until a hot start. Basketball. One playoff appearance in 3 years. I mean, like, you look at compared to the Knights.
Right.
The Knights have came out the woodwork with a lot of success, unlike the Kraken.
Yeah. They bring out Hacksaw. Like, is that really a coach want to bring in for such a young franchise?
Yeah. All right, worst of the night, JP.
Right. So this is kind of continuation of the weekend. Jules, you have that picture I sent you? So Friday night, first off, I'm in Jersey City, and it's the Magic and the Cavs, right? Game 6. There's this guy and his girlfriend, huge Magic fans in Jersey City. Like, he's got the Banchero jersey. His girlfriend or his partner had a JJ Redick Magic jersey. These guys are hammered, so excited the Magic push it to a Game 7. I'm just like baffled. And then yesterday, I'm leaving the supermarket, and the back of this look at the back of the kid's car. He's got the huge, this is humongous Devils bumper sticker. The license plate frame is the Giants, and then he's got the Phillies.
That's a stone violation.
I love that the internet's giving us jobs right now, right? But the power of the internet now.
That's a stone violation. You can't be a Phillies fan and root for the Devils and the Giants.
That's the problem. So, obviously,
that's how he started this whole idea of violations.
Yeah.
I call him Violations Greg. When did I give you that nickname? 2000?
Feels like that.
Really?
Dude,
when did
I don't even understand.
02?
What's
I
the
was at
mentality?
WIP.
What's the mentality there? Is it because the Flyers and Eagles haven't won for so long? But Eagles won at 80. It's like so bizarre.
Well, it's weird because if you're influenced by New York, right? Clearly, he's a Giant. It's the Giants,
North
right?
Jersey kid.
You're influenced by New York. You wouldn't go Yankees, or because they're all front runners.
Makes no sense.
That's bizarre.
That type of behavior, because I just don't get. Like I said, the internet, it makes us more accessible. Like back in the day, you didn't have this accessibility to live in South Jersey and be a fan of the LA Dodgers, right?
Yeah, but again, I rail against that because I get you could be a fan of anybody,
right?
And especially now, the accessibility of it, because you could watch any game you want, right?
Anytime.
You could read about your team. Used to be, you couldn't read about the team. Pre-internet.
You can interact with fans on Twitter.
1995, you're reading newspapers, right? You're not digital. So it's a whole new world. And it's been that way. But it's not where you live. And where you grew up has an influence on you.
That's right.
All right? it has an influence on you.
2022 was such a great year in Philadelphia. Like, how did you not rejoice? The Eagles, the Phils, even the Union. Like, it's just wild to me. And that's to me, it's just crazy. People decide to just be like up one day. They're just like, you know what? I'm going to be a Lions fan. Like, I don't know.
It's interesting. Like, and as Philadelphians, we're hated. Like sports fans, we're hated. I'm looking at a guy now, the Butcher. Here we go again. It's the Phillies. What happened to the Sixers? Eagles, assholes. Go away, Philly trash. This is a comment guy, right? Like, think about that. Like, think about how vile. Like, they hate Philadelphia. It's a part of being who we are, right? Like,
that's right.
We are all about, like, sports matters here. So we live it on, and we wear it on our sleeves. It's a part of who we are. And that's why whatever town you're in and you grew up in, right, your zip code should be to your team. And you shouldn't you shouldn't be fans of other teams.
I love representing. Last year I was in Portugal. I was rocking my Sixers and my Philly stuff. And I wore it with pride. And that's the beauty of it. And some of these people just don't feel the same way, cuz.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you got to rock it with pride. We ought to bring the Butcher in. It seems like a happy, fun guy. For a beer.
Yes. Of course, it's Bill the Butcher from the Gangs of New York. So it's not a real person. It's a coward hiding behind some
big
name.
Picture.
Typical social media. What else we got?
VG's worse, right?
This one hurts. It happened this morning on this show.
Oh.
Our friend from up in Bristol, Kevin, this guy with this Phillies hat. I think I got a picture, right? This guy killed me this morning.
Why?
He's throwing shade at Stubbsy. Like, come on, man. You can't throw shade at Garrett Stubbs. He's the heart and soul of this clubhouse. We're talking about how great the clubhouse is. And he's saying that's the one black hole. That's the void on this team is Stubbsy.
Cuz it's about the muckers and the grinders.
He's got the playlist on Spotify.
I agree with the Butcher.
And we're saying how great this clubhouse is. It's all because
you can't get on Kevin Negandhi for speaking the truth.
Are you a b-ball Paul guy too?
Relax there, man. Come on, Kevin.
All right.
Can't mess with the vibe. He's the captain he's the vibe officer.
I hear you. He's a vibe officer. I'll give you that. All right. VG's Nugs. What we got?
Yeah. This one pained me, man. I was watching. I'm on a lot of pain this weekend, but I was watching the Rangers game yesterday. Dude, those uniforms are nice. I like the Rangers. They look good.
The blue sweaters.
Yes.
It's an
iconic jersey.
Yeah, and the red pants, it just goes so well.
The blue shirts.
I can't get me.
They're nicknamed the blue shirts. It's a great jersey.
You guys can't get me to say that. Absolutely not.
What?
No,
they're keeping it real. It's a great jersey.
I would never wear it. I'd never wear it, but it looks really nice. Listen, that Rangers blue.
I hate to say it, but
don't say it.
What they got going on up there between the Knicks and the Rangers and the Garden, it's pretty cool.
Well, it's hard to look at how good it looks.
I was rooting Carolina.
When I look at that
I was
jersey,
rooting Indiana.
It just gives me bad thoughts, bad memories.
It's a great jersey though. Even the diagonal Ranger is actually cool.
Guys are killing me.
I know.
Hey, in that same game, total violation on ESPN. I don't know. You're watching. There's like a minute left in a tie game, and ESPN cuts away from the game to give you it was like another game was starting up, and they cut to that broadcast in the middle of it. And check this out.
What?
No, it's coming. So there's like 52 seconds left. 52 seconds left. And then they cut to this other game starting.
No. What?
VJ, I gotta tell you, I'm not a big fan.
How do you cut to that? That's terrible.
I'm not a fan of the ESPN covering the NHL. It hasn't been a great product.
No, you don't like it?
Yeah, TNT's good. I'm not an ESPN NHL guy. I just haven't liked it. When the Flyers are on, first off, when the Flyers are on, it's never good on ESPN. Never a good game, but I just don't like the production. Booch, he's good, not for hockey. I don't feel like
Who's not good?
No, Buccigross is good. I just don't like him for hockey.
He does hockey.
He does hockey, but he did SportsCenter before. I liked him on SportsCenter.
But he's a hockey guy first.
Not a big fan of ESPN on
Really?
NHL now.
But their broadcasters, what's his name's outrageous. The guy from Boston who just was doing that game.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
College football. Oh my God. His father was a huge Boston sports guy. He does college basketball, college football. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
I'm blanking on that too.
He was
like
just
7:30 in the morning.
He called the game last night. All right. He's terrific.
I like their studio show's good. I think with Messier and PK Subban, I think they're pretty good.
I'm out.
You're out.
TNT.
Right.
I'm out on ESPN. I
Which
also like the NBA.
Which one's the Chief on? Berube. He's on TNT.
Berube's bouncing around. Berube's a hot coach in Canada right now.
Yeah, I think he's on Turner. Go ahead. What else we got?
This is like kind of a back in the day. 2018. This trade's making news. The Christian Yelich trade. Because the last guy in this trade just committed to play college football at 28 years old. So look at this return they got for Christian Yelich.
I remember that.
Louis Prince is currently playing in Mexico. Isan Diaz is playing with the Lancaster Barnstormers. Monte Harris is the guy who just committed to playing college football.
I remember that.
Jordan Yamamoto is the head coach at high school.
Oh, my God.
We were just talking about the Reyes trade yesterday. Now you look at this. Oh, my God.
For Christian Yelich.
That's terrible.
That's awful.
Let's look at the Giancarlo Stanton trade. That's bad, too.
Yeah, that's awful. Oh, my God.
They're just a mess.
I got to give props to an enemy of ours, Matt Klentak, because he pulled the trigger on that Realmuto trade, and we gave up. Turned out to be nothing. We were worried about Sixto. He gave up Alfaro and Will Stewart, I think.
Yeah, remember Alfaro? People were like, "Oh my God, he's the next great hitting catcher." Had power and the whole thing. And listen, Sanchez had great stuff, but he can never stay healthy. How about he came back again this year?
Sixto,
yeah.
Because he looks like he could pitch in a beer league.
I know.
Yeah, he looks like he ate Sixtos.
I know. It's unbelievable.
It worked out well, yeah. At that organization, they're going to be in Montreal in the next couple of years.
They should be.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Shout out to Matt Klentak. We give him a lot of grief, but that was a good trade.
It was. I agree. JT was a great trade.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and ESPN, one of their big stories is Sixers rumors, and is Jimmy or Paul George a better fit? They had
there's Legs.
Legs was on talking about it. I want you to think, like, where do you think they lean on this one, Ant?
Paul George.
I think Jimmy.
They almost unanimously went Jimmy. And part of the rationale was that the Sixers are a team that historically underachieves in the playoffs, and Jimmy's a guy who overachieves, and maybe bringing a little bit of that to the team would be good for them.
That is a good point.
Yeah, but I'd rather have Paul George. I think Paul George is in a better spot. I don't think he's coming here. I think he's staying in L.A. I think Jimmy's the most likely scenario to come back. Man, you got to give him a lot of money.
He loves Joe.
I know.
They miss each other.
He is a money guy. I just don't know what does he have enough left?
I mean, you would have to think listen, in Miami.
LeBron.
That's your top
I'm with
guy.
you with LeBron.
But Jimmy's been the guy in Miami. If he comes here, he's not going to be the guy. He's going to be one of the guys with Maxey and Embiid.
Yeah, well, at this stage of his career, he's not the guy.
No, man, you can't do that anymore. No.
So I think
he'll take a lot of pressure off. He'll take a lot of pressure off Maxey, I think, which might be helpful.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more. Zach Edey. Did you see him yesterday?
No.
Throwing out a first pitch. I guess he was a baseball player. Look at his first pitch.
Oh my God! Could you imagine Zach Edey on the mound?
Look at this.
Oh man!
wide into there. Why is it that people throwing first pitches, they get so stressed about it that they cannot throw a normal first pitch?
Oh damn!
My God! No, the worst is 50 Cent.
Zach Edey 7 standing on the mound.
I'm a little scared, and he knew he was going to try to throw some heat too.
Yeah, coming at you downhill. I mean, that was with Randy Johnson, man. Randy Johnson
killed the bird.
Yeah, throwing fire, standing at 6'10". This dude's 6 inches taller than him. I mean, half a foot. I mean, that's unbelievable. Randy, I'll never forget being in a box, looking at Randy Johnson, going, "Oh my God!" I wanted to see what it was like. Oh my God!
He looked scary.
Yes, that's your back in the day moment. I did it with John Marzano. With Johnny Mars.
Oh, wow, man. Johnny Mars.
Yeah, that's your back in the day moment. Brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com for all of your goods, all your stuff. By the way, schedule moved to next Wednesday, dude.
Why is that? Was it supposed to come out this week?
I thought it was supposed to come out. We heard tomorrow, and they put a word out yesterday that it's going to be
May 15th next
May
Wednesday.
15th, a week from Wednesday. So we'll get the schedule. So looking forward to it. All right, listen, what's on tap for you today in Seattle?
Yeah, there's a pop culture museum about TV, music, and stuff. I think I'm going to see if I can wander over there and check that out. And beers. Lots of beers and wandering around.
Well, beers. Always beers.
VG, I'm on episode 4, Baby Reindeer. I see why cousins like it. It's very frustrating. Like, why, dude? Why? Just. I don't want to spoil anything.
I don't want it to taint you. You're so wholesome and good. Maybe you shouldn't even watch Baby Reindeer. I mean, he's talking about his Sundays watching football. He's not even in fantasy just so he can enjoy the game.
I can't do
I'm like
fantasy.
the opposite. I have him in 3 fantasy leagues. I got 12
I was a
bets
commissioner at
going
one
on.
point too. I gave that up. I was a commissioner with the league with my boys from my childhood. And I gave it up because I was like, guys, I'm missing out the best parts of football. Now I'm like rooting for the guy who's going up against the birds. Like I can't do this anymore. I need to watch the birds. Sundays for the birds.
Stop with Baby Reindeer right now. It's just going to ruin you. Stop it. You're in a good spot.
Yeah,
it's just frustrating.
You should never see that. Stop watching right now. We got to save his soul. VG, great stuff, buddy. Thanks, pal.
Have fun,
Have
VG.
one on us.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right,
See you,
here
brother.
he is. Violations Greg from Seattle.
Seattle.
All right, brother. Good job as
Great
always.
show,
We'll
cuz.
come back. Listen, everybody, have a wonderful day. We got day baseball today. So the Phillies, Nola on the mound against Bassett for the Blue Jays. Can they win again?
Keep it going.
Julia, what do you think?
You got the side? No, she's got the slides.
She's got
Let's
the
go!
slides. We need a picture of your slides.
I have like 4 pairs now.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you really?
Love it.
So our executive producer, Julia Hot, she's the greatest. She loves the Phillies.
She's a Phillies gal.
Loves. Wow, look at those slides. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Everybody, we love you. Have a great day. Be careful. Watch yourself. We'll see you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.